We now have with us Dr. Anna Jasiulewicz. She's Assistant Professor and Institute of Management at the Warsaw University of Life Science. She is researcher in international and national projects, an author of several dozen scientific publications, organizer of international conferences, and reviewer of scientific papers in international journals. Her research area include consumer behavior, enterprises, innovative marketing strategies, and sports marketing. And I see you jogging all the time on Facebook. It's a pleasure, and also on Instagram to see you. I just saw you won some medals, so congratulations to your prizes that you won in sports.
Thank you, Markus. Thank you very much. Welcome, everybody. In Poland, it's afternoon now, so good afternoon. For some of you, probably good evening even. As Professor Markus mentioned, I'm from Warsaw University of Life Sciences. So I represent the Institute of Management, and today I would like to present the topic that is not directly connected with the trust or with intuition. These are the main topics at this splendid conference, but somehow I think that indirectly it is connected at least with trust, because we do not use the modern technologies like mobile applications when we do not trust in modern technology. And today I would like to introduce a little bit the topic of mobile applications as a tool of creating the consumer social responsibility, and hopefully it will be interesting for you. And this is a very short schedule of my presentation. At the beginning, I'll present you some definitions on socially responsible consumer behavior. It is interesting that we still do not have an definition that is in the regulation. We have the definition of socially corporate responsible behavior, but not consumer behavior in this context. And then I'll tell a bit about the role of mobile applications in teaching and also learning social responsibility. I will present very briefly types and examples of such applications, and then I will tell about the goals and the methods of research. This is a very preliminary research. We are still in train of this research. We conduct this research, so I'll make only the conclusions on preliminary results of study, without any developed statistics and without discussion yet, but it will be in the future, hopefully. And starting from the definition, well, customers' social responsibility is closely related to corporate social responsibility, and according to many scientists like Rodriguez and Ricard and others, there is a specific correlation between the enterprise and the consumer in the area of social responsibility. And on one hand, it is the attitude of consumer and their choices that force entrepreneurs to take pro-social and pro-environmental actions. But on the other hand, that what can make us as a consumers loyal to the company, it is the decision of the company to undertake voluntary initiatives for the benefit of the, for example, local community or environmental protection, or and also providing the high quality goods and setting a fair price. And researchers from various disciplines, they indicate that in the order to find solutions to effectively balance the planet, people and profits as well, a new perspective on corporate and consumer social responsibility is needed. So following this line of thinking, we may say that new ways of teaching and learning. Social responsibility should also be fostered in order to face major societal challenges nowadays. And more researchers are emphasizing the need to transform the education, to introduce a new approach of teaching in this field. Most of us here, we are teachers, so we could also take into account modern technologies to learn about social responsibility, such as mobile applications. So current pupils and current students are very different from pupils and from students that were, I don't know, 10 years ago even, or 20 years ago for sure, because today's students are digital natives. What it means that they grew up in the digital world, in the digital age, instead of acquiring digital knowledge as adults, as we teachers do. Yes, so the revolution in the smartphone technology caused that young people socialize, gain access to the information, and even perform daily activities using mobile applications. However, education in the recent years, well, maybe it's starting, but in the recent years has still been carried out using the same pedagogical methods as it was 20 years ago. Well, in the times of COVID, it started to change for sure, but still I think that we do not use mobile applications for teaching, and maybe we should. And that was one of the purposes of this research, to check if it could be successful way of teaching. So what about the mobile applications in learning, creating social responsibility? Well, they offer, in particular, young people, of course, new ways of looking at the environmental and ethical problems. And importantly, apps very interactive learning instrument, learning method. Why? Because they transform learning process from passive to active. And this method involves activities where users, mobile users, where application user, let's say, learn social responsibility, also by using a phone during the purchasing, for example. And I would like to show also some types of applications to better know what we are talking about. So we have nowadays on the market apps that enable consumers to learn about the health effects of a given product. And you have here some examples of such applications. Most of mentioned here in this slide is in Polish, but I think that in your countries, you have also your national application that help your consumers to learn about health effects of products we consume. And we have also...
I'm very sorry, Anna, but we cannot see the chart. It doesn't go forward.
Really?
Yeah,
well,
we see the...
Because I showed a lot of slides. I don't know why. Okay, maybe I will...
You can jump.
Okay, I will jump.
Now it's moving now.
It's moving now, perfect.
Yes.
Maybe you go on the presentation mode on the bottom on the right.
Okay, do you see now the slide with types and examples, the title?
Yes.
Okay, maybe I will talk in this form without slideshow, okay? Because I don't know why it doesn't work with slideshow.
Maybe you just click on the charts and then it goes further. It's working.
Okay, so maybe like this, okay? It is okay? Like this for you?
Perfect.
Okay, perfect. I'm sorry that you didn't see previous slides, but hopefully, well, you could follow with my speech at least. Okay, and now about these apps, I talked already about the apps that enable consumer learns about the health effects. The next one app that I think that is a very interesting kind of app is this application that learn about the use of animals for laboratory tests by companies. And you have also the example of international apps that you can use as well to check if the product was not tested on animals. We have bunny-free or leaping bunny. These are quite popular nowadays applications. And we have apps that enable buyers to learn about ethical and also unethical corporate practices for their employees or for environment. And good on you, this is an application I will talk more about describing the research. And we have, of course, others. And we have also apps that allow consumers to exchange and sell and buy used things. And this is also the way of socially responsible behavior of consumer. And we have also apps that enable consumers to learn about the fight against food and help in this fight to not waste food. And this is the application. These are kind of applications that dedicate both for restaurants, for example, and to consumers that can buy a food for little money to not waste a food that, you know, for example, at the end of the day where the restaurant is closed. And we have also apps that that enable consumers to support national and local producers. In Poland, we have, for example, Pola application. You can check if the product is really Polish. In fact, if the producer is not only Polish in origin, but you know, if the shares are Polish as well. And some words about the method. Well, the research was, I'm sorry, I skipped the slide, very important, I think, about the research main goals. So the research main goal was to assess, to examine the role of mobile applications in creating social responsibility. And to achieve this aim, this goal, we put some objectives. I put some objectives. I wanted to get an insight to consumers' approach to the issue of social responsibility in purchasing decisions of consumers, the insight to consumer awareness of mobile applications supporting such behavior, social responsible behavior. I wanted also to evaluate the usability of the applications while shopping, such kind of applications while shopping, and examine the implications, impact of awareness of consumers about social responsibility while making purchasing decisions. And going to the research methods, well, the research was conducted in 2021 and it's still conducted, let's say. It was so far conducted among about over 100 students, but these results I will show you very briefly in only in percent. These are results on the sample of 86 students from Warsaw University of Life Sciences, so it is my university. So the access to the sample was quite easy for me, but it is the beginning. And the research is not that this research will be carried out also in different age groups, and I hopefully will also hopefully this research will also be conducted in other countries among the students and among the pupils from secondary school. And the study was carried out in 2 stages using the diagnostic survey method. Well, the research tool considered 2 online questionnaires, 2 survey questionnaires. One was completed before using the applications, and the second one was completed by students after testing the 3 particular applications for 2 weeks. And you have here this mentioned these tested applications. I will talk a bit more about these applications in a second. And we used the scales to assess the social responsibility of the students, the level of social responsibility. I used the previous used scales, international scales used by researchers. And a few words about this application. First one is a good on you application. Well, this application is very interesting. I personally think it is very good, but it is my personal opinion. I use this application, and this application has over 1 million users now. And this is it is important. It is very actual. So this application allows consumers to learn about the ethical aspects of clothing production, and this application supports sustainable development in the field of fashion, exactly. And each brand receives an easy to understand rating out of 5 from we avoid it is 1 point, and to great it is 5 points for a company, for a factory, and in individual scores for impact on people, on planet, and as well on animals. And in this app, they analyze the practices of companies concerning the involvement, for example, of children in work, employee safety, or relationships between the received salary and the possibility of subsistence, and also others. And the application also draws attention to the carbon emission and water and energy consumption in the production process, of course. And we can also find information on animal products such as fur or leather clothes. So such issues, as you know, have recently become an controversial and very media focused, let's say, topic. And next test application, it was banner-free. And this banner-free application, this is an application that allows us to check whether cosmetics or cleaning products have been tested on animals. And this is an application made by organization PAITA, so People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals. Probably you know, everybody knows this organization. And in the application, we can search for companies by categories: do not test or on animals, or test on animals. And this application also allows us to scan products, product barcodes. And we tested also the first application. Student tested me as well, of course, as a teacher. So it was the application e-ingredients. This one is a Polish one, but for sure you have the such national applications as well. So this application allows us to check the presence of chemical additives, dyes, and regulators in food products. And we can choose the healthiest products from among those that are proposed by the producers. And the application provides information, for example, on the symbols of E-type, chemical ingredients, and also provides the information about the origin and also possible side effects. And that is interesting after a high consumption of food containing the additives. And this application searches for ingredients using 3 options. We can enter a symbol or chemical name, or scan the label with the phone camera, or scan the product barcode. And as I mentioned before, in both questionnaires, I used the scales previously used by other researchers. They were already well tested, and students were asked to rate the statements, the same statements in 2 questionnaires before and after the testing of applications. And the statements regarded social responsibility on a 5-point scale. And the statements were proposed by Bernard Manero and the co-authors, and also Palacio Gonzalez and Chamorro Mera, and also by Francois Lecomte and Roberts. And here you have some examples of the statements that were put in the questionnaire. So in this way, it was examined whether the ethical aspects related to the purchase of given brands products are important for students, whether they, for example, pay attention to the composition of the product when shopping, or if they make sure if the product were not tested on animals when they choose product, or if company caring for the natural environment on engaging the company in charity actions is important for students. And some preliminary research in percentages I would like to show now. So in the first, we may say that students' knowledge before testing the applications were very low about such applications before testing. They only knew the Vinted app, 90% of them, because it is an application where you can buy or sell the used clothes. And it is very popular application in Poland, not only among the students, but other people in different age as well. And other labels were not so commonly known. Only we read label app was also known, and it occurred that based on the result of both studies, it was found that declared responsibility of social behavior increased after testing company applications. And I think it is still, these are preliminary results, but it is promising. And the result of the first survey showed that only 46% of the respondents could be considered as social responsible, while the results of the second survey indicated that 74 of them can be treated as responsible consumers. Of course, that were only declarations. We may remember about this, but well, a filter was used, assuming that the respondents that with more than 50% of the answers, I fully agree or I agree in relation to the given statements, the given scales, can be considered as responsible. And the majority of the respondents, it was 85%, stated that after testing these applications, their consumer awareness in the context of social responsibility increased. And as I told, it is promising. Moreover, also they declared that they had more knowledge about companies testing their products on animals. 50% of respondents started checking product labels after testing the application, and 73% of respondents indicated that it increased their knowledge of brands that deal ethically with their employees and in terms of their impact of an environment. And also, the last slide about the results is that the usability of the mobile application was assessed as satisfactory, and it is also promising, I think, or very satisfactory by majority of the respondents. Highest rate was for application good on you, and the respondents declared that they will use the tested application in the future, 65% of them, and they agreed with the statements that mobile applications affected socially conscious purchasing, and all of them also agreed that conscious consumption of food and that application have an impact on the sharing economy, which is based on the exchange of goods and services between consumers. I realize that this study has many limitations still and will have probably in the future. The research sample is small here, but it will be larger. And now I would like to invite you also, if you are interested in this research and you'd like to conduct such research in your countries as well among students, I could give you the tool for researching, and we may cooperate, and we may cooperate on not only in this research, but also in the scientific international publications after achieving the results. I hope that there will be an interest in such a cooperation after this very brief presentation of preliminary results. And I would like to thank you very much and for this, for your attention. And once again, I invite you to the cooperation. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Anna. It's always a pleasure having you. Geoffrey, I think we should jump on this. She invited us to research with her in our countries. I think Korea and Germany and maybe Taiwan is with you. Excellent speech. Thank you very, very much for being with us.
Thank you very much.
Geoffrey.
Yeah, I just want to say that the social responsibility is also one area that I'm really interested, and you are putting, the application, and I just didn't really think about that with the application and then the ordering and then all these purchasing in the app, using app, there's also a social responsibility. And it did not come into my mind that is possible. But with your research, you have shown with your respondents from your students, it is very interesting to know that, oh yeah, it is. We can do something for our society using that app through your research. And I really appreciate that.
Okay, thank you. Hopefully, maybe you can join also the research with me if you want, with your students in the future. If not, well, probably I encourage you also to learn students that they can use such applications, to teach them, to show them that such applications exist, and to show them that they can use them in everyday life. Thank you.
I would love to do that. Dr. Launer is really a culprit here. Now I have a lot of things to do.